week's episode of Naruto Shippuden featured some scenes which seemed like something out of a Naruto fanfiction. So, get this. Rock Lee in the middle of the desert fighting against giant monster ants. And then we have a girl who summons a massive panda which fights against said ants. And Tenten summons an ocean in the middle of a desert. More of this, please. This was a pretty awesome episode of Naruto. Nothing groundbreaking, mind you, but it was a really good Tenten-centric episode, which also had the guest character Ajisai, who eventually becomes the next Path of Pain, who has the ability to summon crazy monsters, which was demonstrated in this week's episode. This was also just a real simple episode, which was very predictable, especially if you saw the preview from last week. It was basically just Tenten and Ajisai teaming up, fighting against giant monster ants and combining their summoning abilities to try and escape. This is all intercut with flashbacks about Tenten, where she tried to learn how to summon an ocean, which was probably one of the funniest scenes I've seen, because it's basically just Tenten hanging out on this big rock cliff right next to the ocean, pulling out a scroll and continuously trying to contain it, and it constantly just washes over her like a giant wave of ridiculousness. It's a pretty funny scene. Aside from the ham-fisted themes of this week's episode, we also get to see some cool scenes with Neji and Rock Lee teaming up with Ajisai's friends, and they're going up against that other group of Konoha ninja who just suck. They're awful. They're not cool at all in any sense of the word. They're not even so bad that they're cool. They're just annoying, and I don't even know why they decided to bring them back, just to remind us how much they sucked in the first place. But really, the highlight of this week's episode is getting to see Tenten save the day by summoning a massive ocean underneath these ruins, which washes out everything and saves the day. That and getting to see a giant panda fight against some monster ants. This is a show about ninja, right? So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? A pretty simple episode which could have been really bad and honestly ended up being pretty decent. The animation and the artwork was okay for the most part. There were some standout scenes, and it was just another good Tenten episode, which, just like the episode itself, is trying to remind us how important of a character she is to the series. Hopefully they'll get to do a little bit more with her in the final arc of the series, because she does have some minor importance on some things that really weren't, like, followed up on, and hopefully they'll do something with that in the anime version. But it was cool just to see some of her other attacks. I especially loved when she used her scroll to summon a massive torrent of fire, which just destroyed all of the ants, and when she had this big axe and killed the very first ant that was attacking them. It was very strange to see these weird, almost alien-looking ant creatures appear out of nowhere, but it wouldn't be the first time that we've actually seen these massive monsters. In fact, I really love the fact that Ajisai mentioned that they can actually capture these creatures and train them to be summoned. So there's a lot of weird, like, monsters in the world of Naruto that people can, like, capture and use for their own use in battle. Kind of like Pokemon. But not really. But still, this was a pretty good episode right here. Nothing groundbreaking, but still a very good Tenten episode that had some pretty good animation, artwork, some action, and it just gave you the feels at the end and made you feel good. Except when you remember that Ajisai is eventually going to die and become the next Path of Pain. That's when things start to get a little depressing. But next week's episode looks like it's going to be fun, because we're getting back to Sakura and her team, and I have no idea what they're going to do with these guys, but I'm just excited to see what they have planned for them, because they've definitely been one of the most least showcased teams of this entire arc. But this episode right here was a pretty good average episode of Naruto Shippuden that you should definitely check out if you're a fan of the series. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Just a good average episode of Naruto Shippuden. Nothing groundbreaking, but still pretty fun. Check it out, Naruto fans. Good stuff. Thank you guys for watching my review. Before you guys leave, make sure and tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden. Did you like this week's episode? Did you not care for it? Did you have a favorite scene? What do you want to see from the rest of the brand new Chunin exam? Remember to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And thank you guys again for watching. And as always, stay dandy, baby.